Okay, so before you start today, don't forget to write today's date up. It's the 20th of the 1st, 2021. A couple of things to remember about fractions and decimals. It can seem quite daunting, it can seem quite scary to begin with. But actually, if you just bear in mind a few things before you get started, you can make life easier for yourself. The first thing to remember is that a fraction is just a division sum. So remember, if I did 1/2, that is exactly the same as doing 1 divided by 2. It's exactly the same thing, and I get 0.5. So the easiest way to turn a fraction into a decimal is just to have a look on a calculator. Obviously today we're not going to be using a calculator, but it just goes to show, it's just there to show you that's what a fraction is. A fraction is essentially a division sum. So if I had, let's go for another one. Let's go for 3/4, which is 3 divided by 4. I should get 0.75. Okay, there we go. So that's all it is. When you're doing it without a calculator, you need to remember that if you manage to get a fraction out of 10, you're going to get 1 decimal place. Out of 100, it's going to be 2 decimal places, and out of 1,000 is going to equal 3 decimal places. Easy to remember: 3 zeros, 3 decimals, 2 zeros, 2 decimals, 1 zero, 1 decimal. So with that in mind, 4/10 is going to be 0.4. 11/100 is going to be 0.11. And 362 1,000ths is going to be 0.362. So, with that in mind, when you get asked a question which is turn this fraction into a decimal, and it's not out of 10, or 100, or 1,000, can you easily change the fraction so that it is out of 10, out of 100, or out of 1,000? For example, I'm looking at question 3 here. Question 3 says, well, what about 12 out of 50? Well, 12 out of 50, I can't easily change that into a fraction, but I can easily change it into out of 100, because remember, if I can easily turn 50 into 100 by timesing it by 2, and if I times the bottom number by 2, I just need to do the same with the top number here, and that's nice and easy. That's 24. So I can easily change 50 into 100, which means that I just need to do the same with the top number. 12 out of 50 is exactly the same as 24 over 100, it's just written differently. It's exactly the same amount though. And now, okay, 100, I know that's 2 decimal spaces. I know then that that is going to be 0.24. Easy, right. So the first thing you need to think about is, if you're looking at one and going, I don't know what to do, look at what number it's given you. I'm looking at 3b here. Now look at the number it's given you, and this one's out of 20. It's a 6 out of 20. There's a couple of ways you could do this, but I'm thinking, I need to change this number. Always think, how do I change this number into 10, 100, or 1,000? If I can change that number into 10, 100, or 1,000, and I can change the top number as well by making it an equivalent, then I'm laughing. So I'm looking at this one, I'm thinking, well, as actually, I can change 20 into out of 10 dead easy, because it's just half. I've just halved it. Can I half 6? Yeah, I can half 6. 6 out of 20 is exactly the same as 3 out of 10. If you drew them out, if you drew 6, if you've got a space, if you've got a square, split it into 20 and coloured it in 6, you'd have exactly the same amount as if you took the same square, but this time cut it into 10 and coloured it in 3. So these two are the same amount. And now I've got 3 out of 10. Now I've changed to 3 out of 10. And we know that 10 is 1 decimal place. It's going to be 0.3. Okay. Now, when you get higher into school, they'll give you some more complicated versions of this. I've had a quick flick through, and all of the numbers, 500, 250, 200, 5, 10, 20, 40, 20, 20, 20, 20. They're all more or less, you can change all those numbers more or less easily into either 10, 100 or 1,000. So all of these questions, ask yourself this question. How can I change the bottom number? How can I change the denominator? How can I change it into either a 10, by timesing or dividing, by the way, not by adding or taking away, by timesing or dividing, by 10, by 100 or 1,000. Here we go. How do I turn 500 into 1,000? Well, I times it by 2. How do I times 250 into 1,000? Well, I times it by 4. 4 times 250 is 1,000. So what happens if I do 62 times 4? I'll get the equivalent, okay? And then 1,000 is going to be 1, 2, 3 decimal places. Trust yourself with this one. Have a go. I'm going to be online to help people out. Please don't be afraid to come in and ask. I'll put the extension up as always. I don't think... No, maybe I will put some other questions up as well. But do drop in and